Welcome back to another course vlog of my home course Shaughnessy in Vancouver, Canada. Today we started on the back nine, playing the blue tees at about 6,700 yards. I hit a good drive, but follow it up with a pretty lousy approach that's pulled well left of the green. And this is a decent wedge, so I'll end up with about 12 feet for par here. I thought this was good, but it misses just a bit low, so we'll settle for a bogey on one. At your request, I have a few awesome videos coming up this week, a round of pitch and putt, a match with a buddy, and what's in my bag. So please subscribe and let me know what else you'd like to see in addition to these course vlogs. On 2, I hit a mediocre drive and a pretty mediocre second shot, but still wound up with about 140 in. The approach was online but pitches right at the front of the green, so I have probably about 50 feet here putting uphill for birdie. I judged the lag putt pretty well, and will take par. Here comes a lousy shot. I've played this course about 4 times on the channel, and I think I've hit this shot every time. Here with the pitch, I'm trying to land it in the rough to have it just roll out a bit towards a tucked pin, but it ends up getting stuck in the rough. And this putt is a bit aggressive, and I'll have about 4 feet downhill coming back for bogey, but I make it. After fighting it with driver for the last few weeks, today it was definitely the steadiest club in my bag. And here I hit a good drive into the long par 4, but another lousy pulled approach shot that winds up well short. This is a really tricky pitch, and there's a lot of break on this green, and I end up hitting probably my best pitch of the day. And I'm pretty thrilled to get the up and down here. The defense of this short par 4 is a very narrow fairway and a narrow green. My drive was just a bit offline, and I wound up in a pretty lousy lie here, trying to feather an 8-iron to the middle of the green. It missed short right, and I have a pitch not dissimilar from the one on the par 3. I don't quite give it enough, but at least I'm below the hole putting for par. And I wound up overreading this putt a bit, and it didn't move quite as much as I thought, and I'll take bogey. This course has 5 par 5s, and I noticed that if I don't play those at even par or better, it's often difficult for me to have a good day. Fortunately today I hit a good drive and a good second shot to the middle of the fairway. And even though this is a terrible 9-iron into the green, I'm lucky that it winds up about pin high. And I get pretty aggressive with the birdie putt and roll it past the pin, but make the comebacker for another par. I misfired with my driver a bit here and push it up the right side, but it's deep enough that it gets through most of the tree trouble, and I'll have a blind but unobstructed shot into the green. I had to step away having no idea where this one would wind up, and fortunately for me it's inside birdie range. I told myself not to give away the hole here, but I guess I did by a hair, and I'll take par. Another nemesis hole of mine, I hit a pretty lousy tee shot today. It's offline and off the number, and now I'm pitching into a very tricky downhill green. I deliberately land it short, but it checks up in the fringe, so I'll have a very difficult downhiller for par as well. It just misses, but it's close enough that I'm happy to have a tap-in bogey. 4 over through 8 on a tough course is just fine by my standards. And here closing out the 9, I start with a great drive on a long par 4 where you really need that. But this approach is straight garbage. Being short right of this pin is a very difficult spot, and I hit a pitch that lands right of the pin and rolls out to the left. With this uphiller for par, I'm really hoping to make it and roll it a bit past the pin, and here's my first and only brain fart of the day on the greens, and unfortunately we close the 9 with a double. You can see through the stats that the approach game definitely cost me some strokes on the front. This shot just suits my eye, and I often leave myself with less than 200 in on the double dogleg par 5. But today I do that with it. Now I'm trying to just bunt a wedge to the front of the green, and I end up hitting it quite a bit past the pin. And this is a very slippery downhill breaker. I judge it pretty well, and I'll take par. This hole becomes a bit of a bad omen for the rest of the 9. I hit a drive to a decent spot, and I'll be inside 150 for the approach. But the approach shot is a swipey fade that winds up brutally short of the green. This wedge shot is tricky into this green, and I'm pretty happy with the result here. I'll have a makeable par putt. But this is very rare for me. I fell in love with the line and left the putt short, so I'll take bogey. I have a name for tee shots like this. I call them good shot, wrong way. And unfortunately, this isn't a hole where you can really get away with that. This from above the hole is extremely difficult, and watch how much this ball rolls out. At least the par putt is an uphiller, and I leave it right on the lip and make another bogey. We've discussed before that being on a bogey train won't really kill a round, but double bogeys can undo them very quickly. And here on the tough par 4, I hit the type of shot that sets you up for a double. You can see I'm frustrated here, and I probably don't have my focus when I hit this terrible shot here. Into this bunker, to a tight pin, I roll it well past. I do manage to hit one good shot on the hole, and this one almost dropped for bogey. But there's a double. They've discussed converting this hole into a par 4, and there might be some credence to that idea, because even from the blues after a bad drive, I am in attacking zone. But my second shot is in the so bad it's good category. It's short of the creek, and it'll allow me to bunt this wedge up towards the pin. I'm on the fringe here, but have a pretty good look. But once again I miss it low, and will take par. The shot tracer refused to capture this drive, but it was a good one, about 240 down the middle. It also refused to capture this shot. Thank God. That's the worst iron shot I have ever hit on the channel.
Possibly be this bad at golf.
And with this wedge, I don't really knock it close enough to give myself a good look at par. And to top things off, I misread that putt as moving right, but it moved a bit left. Let's just move on. That's the best drive of the day, about 260 down the middle. And that's my best second shot of the day. Only about 200, but threading the needle here and leaving myself a short shot in. And then that. Missing the green from 70 yards isn't what you want to do. And this lag putt is a little bit short, so I'll have a tester for par here. But at least the flat stick didn't fail me today. Playing to a front pin on the par 3, I hit one pretty decently here and need it to kick left just a hair to wind up on the green, but that doesn't quite happen. This wedge is tricky, as you can see how much this breaks, and I leave it short and below the hole, and a bit of a brain fart putt here, and you can see my frustration. You know what we haven't had in a while on the channel? Is a birdie. And here I hit a good drive, and follow it up with a token terrible approach shot, but it winds up fading in, pitching at the front and rolling close. And we make the bird. And as you can see from the stats here, my approach play today was pretty horrendous, but a steady driver and a steady putter gave me a pretty decent differential on the day. I'm happy to play this poorly and have a single-digit differential.